What up? It's Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast with Justin and Nat. We here, 2 wins in a row. Yes, it is at home. We know it's at home. We don't need to hear about what they do at home versus on the road. We just going to take these victories and celebrate them when they come. Anytime we just gonna believe that the road victories are coming and they'll string it together because they say all the right things, and then so they won one day at a time, one game at a time. So we here. The vibes are for sure up still. Where we at? What are we at on the vibe scale, Justin?
Whenever you beat a Chris Paul led team, gotta be at least a 9. So we're gonna go 9.5.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna go 9.5. We're gonna go 9.5. Chris
I'm
Paul.
with it.
Yeah.
Was Steph talking some shit to Chris Paul?
He was, and I love it.
They showed a little part where he was mouthing, so this ain't 2014 no more, or something like that. Why are we bringing it back to 2014 though? Steph, you've been better than him now for years.
Yeah, I think that particular play, he just bullied Chris Paul to the rim and just put him in a basket. So I think he was saying I'm not frail like I was in 2014 no more. You're not stronger than me anymore, pretty much. I love
when we get that version of stuff.
Right? Chris Paul brings it out of him always. Always. It takes me back to that kick me off the court again.
Yeah.
2019. Yeah, love it.
You think he'd learn. But apparently not, Justin. He has not learned. But what did we learn tonight? That Klay Thompson is still a bad man. I mean, we already knew that, but killer. I mean, do you think that's the reason? Not that, I thought Steph was still very good tonight, but I feel like when he sort of sees it's one of those Klay nights and Klay is going off, he just kind of all right, I don't need to do as much tonight, and he just lets Klay. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, for sure. Klay was hitting some crazy shots in the first half, heavily contested fadeaway threes and stuff like that. And Steph was like, all right, I'll just pick my spots, which is what, a superstar is supposed to do. If you need him to go superhero mode, then he can do it. But if he has someone else who's stepping up and it's their night, then he was letting Klay do what Klay does. In the second half, he was a little bit more aggressive, and Jordan was a little bit more aggressive in the second half too, because they were not really letting Klay get his stuff off in the second half. And that's exactly what I saw from Steph.
I'm sure that had to feel good for Klay, though, because Devin Booker has sort of gotten the best of him in the last few matchups. So, I mean, Book still had a pretty good night, but Klay was better. Even if it was only for the first half, he was better.
Right. Yeah, the gap in the first half was so big that it lasted the whole game. It's cool.
Great win, I think it always makes us feel good. Obviously, wins always feel good, but it's sort of it's unavoidable. But that story of the season, they come home, they play well, and then we're feeling good. Get a couple wins in a row or a few wins in the row, then they go on the road. So, I mean, like I said, we're going to remain high about this and get into that later. But, the third quarter, and I don't know, maybe it's to be expected that you sort of take your foot off of the gas, but they were up by a lot, almost 30 points. Should the Suns have been able to get back that close in the game? And does it worry you at all?
It doesn't worry me because they were literally just playing with their food in that quarter. Then the Suns, it was one of those situations where the Suns were just playing a lot harder than the Warriors. And on a night like this, where they had a really tough win a few nights before, and, they're just kind of riding the wave of Klay in the first half, you can't expect them to play perfect basketball all the way through. So I'm not necessarily worried long term, but they definitely shouldn't have gotten within. They got to 3. That was just bad. It was just open layup after open layup. The refs got into it a little bit where they were just kind of giving the Suns a lot of calls that could have went either way, and allowed the Suns get some free throws going, some momentum, and then it was good to see the Warriors kind of get back on the horse at the end of the third and push the lead back up to double digits before the fourth quarter. So that is more encouraging than the other aspect of it is being worrying. So it happens sometimes, but it was just a bad stretch of basketball for them defensively, and that's the main thing.
Yeah. You mentioned after gritty, tough game they played like the other night. Who was not a fan of that game they played the other night? Our friend Hollinger. Here's a little snippet of something he wrote about the Dubs. What do the defending champs do when they get Steph Curry? Why, of course, they lose to the Lakers and Thunder and get blown out by the defanged Grizzlies and then puff their chests out because they scraped by the Bucks without Giannis. While we're here, the best way to prove somebody isn't a rival is definitely by dedicating an entire podcast episode to talking about them. Okay, he didn't spend the whole episode talking about him, but that being said, what is wrong with this man? Like, why is he so obsessed with the Warriors?
Who isn't obsessed with the Warriors? Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine actually taking the time to write that?
I couldn't, but John Hollinger, he just, he has his feelings for the Warriors and he doesn't hide them. And that's just, it is what it is. That guy, he's, funny guy.
Talk about incapable of any objectivity. People think I'm bad. Woo! Woo, Justin.
We see it all the time. We try to point it out, and they say we got the Homer glasses on, and it's clear agendas out there in media all over the place. So people know when they see it.
For sure. Well, shout out to Jordan Poole. He made you tweet. You said it's an exhilarating experience with Poole. What did you mean by that, Justin?
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. It's up and down. The highs are extremely high. The lows are extremely low. And it's rarely just smooth sailing. It's one or the other always. And, he's a young player. He's starting to get back into what is going to be his consistent role from this point going forward. Hopefully, Steph and Klay both stay healthy and it kind of locks those three into their roles. But, he'll have a few possessions where he's just throwing passes that don't seem to be going to anybody other than the other team or out of bounds. And then he'll have a few possessions where he just hits 30-foot bomb, just off a catch. And he'll have a possession where he just goes straight into the rim and takes the bump and lays it in. He'll have a possession where he gets a shot thrown completely off the glass. So, like I said, high highs, low lows, extremely high variance player, but he plays a high variance play style. So that's what's kind of what it's going to be. And you just hope that over time he can just settle into his game a little bit more like Steph did, whereas like that, there's not as much variance, right? His floor is elevated to a certain level consistently. And, it's going to come with time because he's still really young.
Yeah. Well, shout out to him, though, because he was pretty big in the second half. And Warriors got the W. Shout out again to Klay Thompson, 38 points in the victory tonight. Is there any other players that stood out to you tonight?
Draymond does his typical stuff on defense. He was kind of all over the place, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Andre was huge defensively as well against those second units. Quick hands still. He had – it's funny, I was talking to our guy Jeremiah about a layup that Andre had in the middle of the game, and I was telling him Andre is good for one layup every year where he's not even looking at the rim. He just kind of just threw it up, looking down at the ground. He had a reverse dunk today, so he kind of turned the clock back today. It was good to see Andre
without being sore or hurt afterwards. The question is, what does the report say tomorrow? That's really the question.
Exactly.
Because
Because he
every time
fell a
he
few
does
times.
some like thing where you're like, oh, that's vintage Andre. The next day we hear reports like on the
He
injury
was back out.
report. It's like, bro, don't do that stuff if that's what it's gonna cause. Seriously.
No, really, really. But yeah, I think Andre got good minutes. Moody had good minutes. He was tasked with being the one in a box of one against Devin Booker. Um, he had a nice dunk on Biombo early in the game. So I think he's coming along too. But obviously, when all the guys come back, he probably won't be in the rotation. But it's just, a testament to his maturity that he's stays ready, even given, that his young career so far hasn't gone probably the way he wants to. But he's just still chugging along. So shout out to Moody.
What are your thoughts on them throwing those kind of coverages at Booker tonight?
I think it was warranted. He was cooking anybody that was in front of him. I mean, he was scoring a lot in transition too and off of screens, but sometimes you got to do that, especially in the regular season. Over the course of a playoff series, when you got all your guys healthy, I think they'll go to a more traditional coverage and just say, "Hey, you're gonna have to cook our best guys and just see how it
Mm-hmm.
goes." But in the regular season, I think they should just try to rack up wins as any kind
However
of
they
way they
can get
can.
them.
Yeah. And I think they did a good job of that today. So hopefully they can keep it going forward. They got 5 road games coming up.
Oh yes, the road games. Well, look, this sort of sounds like a good point for us to transition. I'm really happy about the win tonight. It may not sound like it, but guys, man, these games where it's late, it's after 1 a.m. on the East Coast. So it's long days for me and Justin, man. It's long days, but definitely thrilled. Definitely thrilled. Um, the Warriors are now 2 losses behind the Suns. I really say 3 because they own the tiebreaker, but definitely a good way to finish up this little mini homestand before they go on the road. Hopefully this time they really will take it and go onto the road and get some actual wins. Hopefully no more road records that are like winless. So there's a number of games in here, so they got to get some. So yeah, shout out to the squad, but let's move on from the game tonight. So the Warriors are about to go onto the road, Justin. How do you feel about that? Like, just like, do you get anxious? Are you like, oh, God? I know we kind of have gotten out of the prediction business because this year is so wonky, but I don't even know what to think or feel about them now about to embark on this road trip. It's like it's really imperative that they get some wins here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not anxious about it. I think they're in a good groove right now. Um, based off these last 2 games, obviously the 3 games before that, they didn't play as well. But I think these are 2 huge wins. Obviously, the Bucks were missing their best player, and the Suns were missing their best player. But still, 2 really good teams, even without those guys playing. And Curry and Thompson are in a huge, like, nice groove right now. Obviously, shooting the ball. Draymond's been playing well. Looney's been playing well. So I think they kind of like getting into that playoff mode. They know it's that home stretch, and then just the pressure of having to win these games to stay out of the play-in and potentially, you know, get to a better seed. I think is lit a fire under those dudes. So yeah, they've won 8 home games in a row and they've lost 8 road games in a row. So hopefully the road streak is the one that ends first. I think it will be because they have 5 straight road games, and a lot of those games are winnable. All of those games are really winnable, to be honest.
You got a back to back in there, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not anxious either, but I'm just like, can they go 3-2? Back to backs are always sort of tough. Um, I'm sure they'll want to just try to beat Memphis, even if it is the second night of back to back, because they just be so extra. So hopefully that will
Mhm.
give them motivation. It's really important that they win that Clippers game to own the tie break, since the Clippers are like right there in the standings with them.
Mhm.
You got Houston, and then who knows, like if Luka is gonna be back for that. I don't did Kyrie even play tonight in Dallas's game?
I don't think no, he didn't. I don't think so.
So I mean, I don't expect Kyrie to be out, but I don't know if there's been any reports of how long Luka is gonna be out. So
I think they're both day to day, and Christian Wood is also day to day, so they'll probably be back.
yeah, they'll probably be back.
I mean, they've been kind of ass with those two guys. To be honest, they can't stop anybody.
Yeah, they
Um,
struggle to find a groove together. So, but that would be nearing the end of the road trip. So, you know, again, I'm not predicting anything. I don't know what they'll win and what they'll lose. Like, I'm just saying they gotta win some of these games. They gotta win some of these games. We see the Suns are legit struggling without Kevin Durant. So it's like there's opportunity. The Kings dropped back down to the third seed today because they lost tonight. Giannis came back with the Bucks. They're like, we're not losing another one, because the Kings were in that game for a while, but of course they also don't defend. So um, the Bucks won. So now the Kings are back to being one behind Memphis. Um, Memphis knows how to play with without Ja. So
mm,
they're still capable of getting some wins. So that 2 and 3 are going to be interesting. Cuz I'm not really sure if the I'm not really sure if the Grizzlies will drop very far. I just think ultimately, even if they make it to the postseason, if they don't have Ja back or things haven't stabilized with them,
it's
Ja,
over.
Steven Adams, they're just not doing anything probably beyond the first round.
I agree. I mean, I think even with even with those guys,
They're
I don't
not
see.
doing that.
I'm sta- I'm I'm standing on my take before the season even started. They're first
That
round out.
was your take. That was your take. We save takes around here so you can go back and find them, but he definitely said that. Yeah, so I mean, what else is there to say? We've talked about this so many times, Justin. It's almost like, like, is this like deja vu? Like, because we just repeat ourselves over and over and over again. They got to get some wins. It's really important. It's go time. But and they say the same things: bottle it up and package it and bring it on the road, and we got to string together some wins. I mean, like we've been saying this shit all season, so it's just like I don't even know what else to say. Like, just go do it, bro. Please go do it. Gonna still be very tough not having Andrew Wiggins, but getting Kaminga back, and it seems like they probably will get him back for this road trip.
Mhm.
Will be really helpful.
And hopefully, these teams start not shooting the lights out when the Warriors come into their building. It's just been a
Uh,
crazy, crazy phenomenon all season. So yeah, let's get normal shooting, please, from these other
Normal
teams.
shooting.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if Russ Westbrook hits 5 threes. Like that's how
Okay,
bad
so
it's been.
Justin, just don't even put that shit into the
I
universe.
know
Like, why would
I
you
said
say
that
that?
to trigger you. I said that to trigger you on purpose.
You're so annoying when you want to be. Goodness gracious. Well, yeah, that's all I got on the Warriors and their road trip, and what else can you say? Like, we're just repeating ourselves, and I'm not going to keep doing that at 1 a.m. So go win
Mhm.
some games. You gotta win on the road. It's go time, because they really do. I mean, 4 is still there for the taking, and you want to like really supplant yourself outside of the play-in, you know? And,
Mhm.
the Knicks did their job. They beat the Lakers the other night. That was good for us, you know?
Yep.
Utah, I think it was, lost tonight. So the teams that are like right there trying to climb up, they're still losing, but some of the big ones who are right there with us. I mean, the Mavs, they lost again. So they're kind of, now there's a little distance with them, but the Clippers, they're right there. Minnesota just won again. They're right there. So, time to start creating that separation.
Yeah. And a win with the Clippers would be huge, like you said, because of tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
And
puts
I'm
you in the
sure they
same.
know that. So they're going to be dialed in. They're going to be dialed in because they know the
Exactly.
importance of just tying it up.
Exactly. And then
So
37 wins for the Warriors. The Suns play again tomorrow night against the Bucks, who also played tonight. So they'll both be on a back-to-back.
But Giannis.
But Giannis. Giannis and no KD. So don't want to make a prediction, but hopefully the Suns lose that game, which would get them closer in the loss column to the Warriors. And like you said, the 4th seed is still in play if that happens. So that would be pretty good, pretty huge. At least one round with front home court advantage after this whole season of BS. That would be amazing. So
Hells
hoping
yeah.
for
Hells
that.
yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's move on. So before we depart, we know the kind of season it's been in terms of just ups and downs, players being in and out. And we're just like trying to get our guys back. We're trying to get our guys back whole. And it's not always injury. We know, like with Andrew, he's dealing with something. We continue to just send our love, our prayers to Andrew, and hope for the best and hope that he can rejoin the team soon. Because we miss him and we want him back and they need him. But no matter what he is going through, and I don't know what it is, but a lot of times things like this, other things that you love and being around, your teammates and things like that, that could also maybe help him, and provide comfort in a way. So I'm not saying that. I genuinely, is like selfishly for me as a fan, I just, whatever it takes to kind of support him, I hope that happens. So, but we got other players too, right? So there's GP2. We got a GP2 update. And what was that, Justin?
Reevaluated in 10 days. He started some on-court activities like shooting, I'm sure some ball handling drills and stuff like that. And they said he's going to be ramping up his activity over the next week or so, possibly moving into, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, that type of stuff to get him closer to play. And then he'll be reevaluated in 10 days. So if after that second reevaluation, if he's, cleared to play, that would put him in that Philadelphia range for return, which is like the start of their last home stand before the end of the season, which would probably put him at like 7-8 games played, or so that would be pretty good if they can get Gary and he's healthy. That's a huge addition, obviously, to their point of attack defense and just their wing depth overall.
For sure. And we mentioned, Kuminga hopefully coming back for this road trip. So, I mean, if Andrew comes back, I don't know at what point it would be, but if they get everybody back besides just Wiggs, what will that do for the team if they have like everyone? And Wiggs is still huge. I'm not trying to discount him, but what will that mean overall for the team?
Oh, I think it'd mean a ton. Just Kuminga and Gary alone does so much for your point of attack defense, your athleticism, your finishing on the inside. I think that really hurt them against Memphis. We saw whenever they didn't play a traditional size lineup, they got killed, and when they did go to those lineups where it was, I think their best lineup was Steph, Ty Jerome, PBJ, Andre, and Draymond, like legitimate size in the front court, somebody who's above 6'3" on the wing, and they just killed Memphis in those lineups. So adding Kuminga, who could just, Kuminga and Gary, who do a lot of the same things. They can finish lobs, they can play defense on the perimeter, they can rebound. That does so much, because even though the Warriors usually dominate with their skill, it's also the fact that they have a lot of size on the perimeter and athleticism next to that skill that makes them such a dominant team on both ends. So even without Wiggins, that's huge. And then you add Wiggins to the equation, and you're talking about a championship level team. So they just need their guys back. But if they got everybody except Wiggins, they're still in a pretty good spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember when Kakumin got hurt. I'm like, man, like for Memphis, this is just like not the team we don't need him for. Like we need him
Right.
regardless, but like there's just certain teams it's like, oh, why, you know? So, but such is life. I
Yeah.
suppose. What are you gonna do? When is it Steph's birthday? Today? Right now?
Yeah. Pi Day, 3/14. Steph and Warriors legend Nico Mannion. March
Oh
14th.
my gosh. Well, happy birthday. And shout out to the GOAT that is Wardell, Stephen Curry. Our guy, 35.
35. That's crazy to think about.
Happy
He went from
birthday,
the baby
Steph.
face assassin to 35 elder statesman in the NBA, 4 championships later. Crazy.
It's remarkable. It's a remarkable. He's had such a remarkable career, and it's not over yet. So just happy to witness it and, want more for them still. So, man, I tell you, Justin, what would it mean for Steph's legacy to pull off a championship this year?
It's him and Mike. If he win a chip this year with all of this that's went on, and Andrew coming back, most likely not in peak shape, and all this other stuff, that would be insane. The Bucks look really good with Giannis. The Celtics are obviously, well, they kind of struggling right now. They screwed my parlay up today. Anyway, lost to the Rockets. That's crazy. But you expect them in playoff time to get in shape. They'd be one of those two teams out the East. Those are two really good teams. So it's him and because at this point, 5 chips. He'll probably have another Finals MVP. He's had an MVP caliber season despite health issues when he did play.
Can he make 50, 40, 90 this year?
He's extremely close. Let me see. The game Basketball Reference tonight's game didn't update on there, but he's 49.6% from the field, and he's over 43% from the three, and he's over 92% from the free throw. So
I want him to have another 50, 40, 90 in his career because I'm so mad a couple of years ago if you take away like a few of his heaves and he had it.
Yeah.
So
that's a part of what makes him tough, though. He takes the heaves.
I know. Let's sort of hope he can get that because he really should have 3 in his career this season and that year. So let's hope he can get that this season. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I've always said Steph is the second best player I've seen that I've watched with my own eyes. It's just always been about the resume and getting the accolades. And I know to some people they think that's crazy. I mean, I remember when I said that before, Warriors fans were like, what? Like better than LeBron? Yes. I don't rate LeBron, first of all, like y'all do. And, but even now I still have Magic ahead of Steph, but it's really because of resume. It's not because I actually think Magic is the better player. Magic was my favorite player, So there's a combination of like, yes, you have to be great, but you also have to accomplish certain things. And that's why I still feel like he has to add some more things to his resume to be up there. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if he gets a 5th with this year.
Then what can I want to know the legit argument for other people above him other than Mike, maybe LeBron, if you talk about the stuff that he did
I don't
before
want to hear
Steph
shit
became a
about
superstar.
LeBron. I don't want to hear about him. Listen, people acting like I still don't understand how LeBron got 4 and y'all got him as the second behind Jordan. I still don't understand that. I don't agree with that. So no, like I like this makes no sense to me. So no, he ain't no behind no fucking LeBron. That shit will be done with. Done. That's what I will be on. It
If he
may
fill up
not
the
be
hand,
Mike yet, but like it's done. There's no more LeBron is ahead of him shit. You know his people are like, please don't let Steph win. They are like the other day
oh yeah,
someone tweeted, they were like, oh, Steph and Bron gonna both finish with 4. And people like, oh, you thought why are you grouping Steph in there? No.
right,
LeBron's done winning them. Steph ain't.
yeah, right. And if he fill up the hand, he get to 5. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I know I'm personally gonna push the agenda is him and Mike if he get to 5.
Oh,
But
we pushing that
we
agenda.
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
People gonna
Um,
people gonna do? You know what people gonna do then?
what?
They're gonna bring up all defensive teams. They're gonna bring up dumb stuff like, oh, he only has 2 finals MVP. It's gonna be stuff like that. But they know. They
By the
know.
way, I had wanted it to be Warriors, Celtics, again because I think it's fun when the 2 teams play, but I'm over it now because people are getting a little crazy with the Bucks takes, like, oh, if Middleton was there, the Bucks would have repeated last year, like they would have done what? So now I'm like, mm-mm. And I want to end this whole Giannis is the best player shit. So yeah, it needs to be the Bucks now.
That would be nice. And they when
I'm
they
not
run
that
dry.
interested personally in going to Milwaukee, like at all, but it just when I start to see too many narratives forming, I'm like, you know how I get. So now I just want
Gotta
Milwaukee
dead
to
'em.
like prove shit.
Gotta dead the narratives. It would be perfect if it was like knock Phoenix out in the first round, fully healthy. Knock who would be next? Denver out because therefore they got to see Denver knock Denver out of there, and then I guess the next team after that would be shit. Would it be Sacramento? That would be crazy if Sacramento got to the conference finals. That would be really nice for them. But once you get Phoenix and Denver out of there, it doesn't really matter who the other team would be.
No. I mean,
And
I
then
guess they definitely could be set up to get there, like the way the Blazers got there that fake year. Right?
yeah,
Like if
yeah,
I'm just saying, if they have like the right side of the bracket, because people are like, well, Dame's got into the Western Conference Finals. That was like the most not real Western, like they had the easy side of the bracket. Most people considered the round versus Houston like the actual conference finals. Like, what are we doing here?
right. Yeah. That would be. What would be
So
crazy if it would be crazy if the Lakers somehow got up to 7, and then they saw the Lakers in the conference finals and got them up out of there, and then saw the Bucks and got them up out of there.
yeah, but I
So
don't
you
need everything being hard for the Warriors. Like the
that wouldn't be
Lakers,
hard. That wouldn't be hard. That wouldn't be
I'm
hard.
just saying, it would just be, oh my God. But let me tell you something. That is a level of trolling and
Right.
just
That's peak pettiness right there.
ignorance that you will see from me on the timeline. The level of ignorance you would see from me on the timeline. If those were the teams we played,
That would be crazy. That would be a crazy run right there. Then it for real, it would be like, yo, he better than Mike. So, then we getting crazy with it.
you see what happens when me and Justin are up late at these hours talking, y'all. Listen, Justin,
Right.
let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. It is Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast with Justin and Nat. We will be back for the next game. And who is it against?
Clippers at Clippers.
Oh, yes. And that is, what's today? Monday. So that's on Wednesday.
Yep.
All right, y'all. So yeah, we'll be back after that game late again because y'all West Coasters don't respect our time over here. But we do appreciate you for tapping in and for the support. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Golden Spaces Pod. Please continue to do the 5-star ratings. Please continue to send us those positive reviews. We should maybe do a mailbag soon, Justin.
We should look out for
Yeah.
that.
We'll maybe have a mailbag ready. soon, sometime this week, if not for the Clippers game, then for like maybe one of those that during that back-to-back they have coming up. But just thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. And until next time, y'all, take care.